Mr. Toldo, thank you so much for creating time for us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Back in our motherland in Kenya, in Swahili, we say asante sana for thank you.
Yeah.
How do you say it in Ethiopia?
አመሰግናለሁ.
Amasagnalo.
Yeah.
I think I've learned something.
Right, yeah. You're good. You're good.
Basically, what strikes me is the fact that I'm seated next to the most admired and influential business leader in the continent.
Oh, no.
You're
flattering.
How does this make you feel?
Of course, I'm very proud of what we have achieved at Ethiopian Airlines, but it's not only mine. It belongs to more than 16,000 hardworking men and women at Ethiopian Airlines.
When you first took this office as the CEO, what was the situation like in the Ethiopian Airlines?
You know, the good thing about Ethiopian Airlines is there is always succession planning, so there is no surprise. I came from New York in 2004. I joined my predecessor here. He called me to head the marketing department, sales and marketing. So he knew that he was retiring, so he was preparing me. And then I took the chief operating officer task, which was new to the company at that time.
Okay.
And that meant a new grouping of all the operational areas: maintenance, flight operations, customer service, and commercial. So these are the main divisions of the airline. You can assume about 80% of the airline.
Okay.
It also meant that I was preparing myself to take over. So it was no surprise, and I was part of the vision at that time. We called it Vision 2010, and it was a very successful vision. I was working with my predecessor to prepare Vision 2025.
Okay.
Vision 2025 means transforming the airline from $1 billion annual revenue to $10 billion.
Yeah.
And then 90 international destinations, 120 airplanes, about 17 million passengers, and so on. We were basing our future on the two most important airplanes in the world, the most modern airplanes in the world and the airplanes of the 21st century.
All right.
And these are the 787 Dreamliner and also the A350 from the Airbus family. So now, after 8 years, we have achieved all of them 7 years and 8 years ahead of the planned period, except revenue. In terms of ranking in the continent, when we start Vision 2025 in 2010, we were number 4, next to South African Airways, Egypt Air, and Kera Airways.
Yeah.
But now we are distant number 1. So
Clearly.
in all parameters, I mean, this is a fact.
Yeah. This is a question that is out there. In terms of support, who is supporting the airline? Is it the government? And if it's the government, how? And if it's not the government, where does it step in?
The airline is supported by itself, 100%. And there is no single cent coming from the government to the airline.
You're basically a self-sufficient system. That's what I'm getting.
Right, yeah.
How is it that then you make profits while, of course, you see other airlines, the likes of Kenya Airways, the likes of South African Airways, they are sort of struggling and not quite making the profits as needed?
One of the reasons why we are always profitable is, as I told you, we have long-term planning. So long-term planning will enable us to put the right things at the right time, at the right cost. What matters for any company is the management, the leadership. The leadership and the management doing the right things at the right time. Cost management is very, very fundamental in the airline business, and Ethiopian Airlines is one of the most frugal airline in the world. We are extremely cost conscious. Look at this, the building that we are in, it's more than 60 years old. So when Ethiopian Airlines was investing in the last 8 years on many infrastructure, new cargo terminal, new academy, new maintenance hangar, new simulator facility, new catering, but the head office remains the same. Because I say the head office doesn't produce anything. The head office is only for me and my colleagues. So we can afford to stay in 60 years old building as long as it doesn't collapse on us.
Exactly.
So cost consciousness is very important. You don't see this in other airlines.
What do you think makes Ethiopian Airlines stand out from the rest?
If you are standing today in Ghana, Accra, you want to go to Beijing, and you check with the travel consultant, Ethiopian Airlines comes first. Why? Because it is the fastest and the shortest, which takes you to Beijing, because of the design of connectivity that we have built here in Addis as a hub. We have the most modern planes in service with the most modern cabin features, non-stop flights, daily available frequencies, award-winning services, 4-star and 5-star services.
Could this be the reason why you won 7 consecutive awards?
Yeah, many awards. That's only from AFRA, from African Airlines Association. Also the Skytrax in the UK, IATA and the others. Yeah.
8 years down the line, what are the general statistics that you look at and feel, me as the CEO, this is what I've given to the Ethiopian Airlines? That's, I'm talking in terms of profit margins, in terms of the number of employees that you have, the facilities that you have.
We have what we call 4 pillars of the vision. So these 4 pillars are, the first one, fleet. So we have made the right decisions in fleet. We have also grown the fleet to more than 110 airplanes. This is a record even for the continent.
Yeah, sure.
Not only for Ethiopian Airlines, but for the continent. The continent has not seen an airline with 110 airplanes. So this is a pride moment, not only for Ethiopian Airlines, but also for the continent. When we come to human resource development, we were very concerned that with all this growth, fast growth, somewhere shortage of qualified and professionals will be an obstacle. But fortunately, the academy has done a very good job. So we have been training pilots, technicians, cabin crew, all required professions, and we have kept self-sufficient. So we've never affected by shortage in our fast growth. Today we are self-sufficient in all aviation professionals except pilots.
All right.
We have around 15% of our pilots foreigners. Otherwise we are training like 300 pilots every single day. 300 pilots. So I'm very proud that we are creating high quality jobs like pilots for Africans, for Ethiopians. So we have now close to 1,000 pilots in our payroll. The third pillar is the infrastructure. We have a big industry here. On the left, you will have the passenger terminals and the ramp parking the airplane. And then in the middle, you have the catering center, which is fully owned by Ethiopian Airlines, and it has a capacity of about 100,000 meals a day. And then we have the hangars, the maintenance hangars. We have 6 of them. We maintain all our airplanes here, from light maintenance to heavy maintenance. We have also engine shops. We maintain our engines here, some of them. And then we have a very large cargo terminal, which has a capacity of about 1 million tons a year. This is the largest in Africa and also comparable to Amsterdam, Hong Kong, Singapore, Changi, in terms of not only size but also modern technology. It is fully automated. Here we have a unique situation that we provide ground transport to our employees. 16,000 employees. We bring them in the morning, we take them back in the evening.
Wow.
And during the night, it's door-to-door service. So
they don't pay for this particular service?
They don't pay.
Okay.
It's free.
Okay.
So we have 60 buses, big buses, and we have more than 50 land cruisers. So it's a big infrastructure on its own. And we have also a maintenance hangar for the vehicles.
Yeah. There was a house project you had a few years back for your employees.
Yeah.
How is it so far, or where is it?
It has 2 phases, and the first phase is completed and delivered, about 1,200 houses. I'm also a member. And
you stayed in one of the houses?
Yeah, I'm preparing to move there.
All right.
The second phase is a big one because the airline is growing, so we're going to construct 12,000 apartments.
Wow.
It will be mortgaged.
Okay.
So they will be signing for the airline at least 10 years to serve. and then the mortgage will be going for 15 years. So the airline is going to borrow money to construct the houses, and the employees will sign membership and then use the house, and they pay it in 15 years mortgage from their salary. So we call it Ethiopian village. And the other one is a hotel. It's a big hotel. It's the largest hotel in Ethiopia. 5-star, 373 rooms, close to 380.
Wow.
Many people are asking us why we venture to hotel.
Yeah.
Ethiopia has a lot to offer to the international tourists in terms of wide, very rich history, culture, natural beauty, wildlife, all put together. But unfortunately, we have not done a very good job as a country to promote Ethiopia as a tourist destination. So since the government has now a renewed initiative to promote tourism and put tourism as a priority sector in the national economic development, we want the airline to play a catalyst role as a national carrier. In total, we have invested more than $500 million.
Wow.
Mainly
in this particular hotel?
No, the infrastructure that I was saying. This hotel was $65 million.
You're ranked the top airline in Africa. And I realize probably from all these goodies that you have for your customers, you're attracting these particular investors into this particular place. What is the actual driving force behind this?
I think it's commitment, determination, and also long-term view of the business, which is very important. And also it is, as you know, 100% owned by the government, but it is run by professional managers like myself. So there is no political interference in the day-to-day activity of the airline. That's why it managed to grow in all types of political environment.
This comes when Africa as a continent is grappling with issues probably to do with a single African probably air market. What's your take on this? What does this mean to the African air transport?
It is high time for Africa to focus in its own internal matters with its own resources. So the single African air transport market will give the opportunity of African airlines to freely fly between and among points in Africa freely, without any restriction. That means, number one, it develops the aviation sector in the continent, but it develops the aviation sector in the continent by the people of the continent. So indigenous, homegrown airlines in Africa have to grow. That has been a challenge. And the end result of this challenge, as you know, is 80% of air traffic between Africa and the rest of the world is controlled by non-African carriers.
What has come in my mind is that you're able to see the bullet before it leaves the barrel. What is likely to be the main impediment towards us achieving this?
Well, the main impediment will be, I think there must be a mechanism that will be able to develop many African countries to see their airlines back into service. We have to compete and cooperate, but we want to see more, as I told you, homegrown, indigenous African airlines. So I think Africa has to grow by Africans, for Africans.
Exactly. Let Africa stand for Africa. That's what you're saying.
Right, yeah.
I've had enough from your pot of wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you very
so
much. Thank you.